Hey guys, what's up? This is RhinoHorn18 here today, and I'm bringing you Scary Stories Commentary 3. So yeah, there's been kind of a high demand for the Scary Stories Commentary Episode 3, because my last episode was quite a while ago, and a lot of people really liked this series. So I'm bringing you 3 as quick as I could, because I don't have much gameplay, and that kind of brings me to another thing. So I'm using a guy named GUnit123's gameplay for this, because I have not been playing very much Call of Duty lately, so I don't have much gameplay. And I got his permission, and his link will be in the description if you liked his gameplay. So let's just get to the story right now. This story is called, it actually doesn't have a name, so let's just call it Charlie Wackaweed, because that's like the first word I see here. Alright, here it goes. One day, a boy named Charlie Wackaweed was making a wish on a star. He did not know the wish he would be making would change his life forever. It was late one night when Charlie was looking at the stars. He had heard that if you wish on the first star you see, your wish will become true. So he spotted the first star that he saw, and he made a wish on it. His wish was that whatever he said or did for it would come true. So for instance, if he would say, "Let it snow," it would snow. Just a few days later, he was sitting in his geometry class wondering about the test they would have in about 5 minutes. When he got the test, he sat there wishing that he would ace the test. He took the test that was supposed to be very hard, and he thought that it was easy. He got it back, and it was an A+. He was amazed because he had never had a test and aced it before, and his test was probably the hardest one that he had ever taken. He asked all his classmates what they had gotten on the test, and they all replied with a C+ or lower. Charlie was very excited that he had gotten a better grade than Chris, who was an A+ student, and Chris had made a C-. There was this one kid that Charlie did not like. He wished that something bad would happen to him. The very next day he was out of school. Charlie asked his teacher where he was. His teacher replied with, "He's in the hospital with a very deadly disease. It came on so fast, and none of his doctors had a cure. It is really weird. I have never seen anything like it." The very next day, Charlie heard that the kid with the deadly disease had died. Charlie was upset about the whole situation. He knew that it was his fault that he had died. So he went to his funeral with sorrow and regret. He was at home alone late one night. All of a sudden, the phone rang. He ran down the steps to answer it, thinking that it might be his parents. He picked up the phone and heard the dial tone. He thought to himself,
"That's weird."
and then he went back up to his room, thinking no more about it. This happened several more times, and he still ignored it. Then all of a sudden, the doorbell rang. He went down to answer it again, thinking that it might be one of his best friends, Jared. He opened the door and said,
"Hey Jared, what's..."
But then he noticed that no one was there. He thought to himself,
"It must be one of those little kids that live down the street prank calling and ringing the doorbell and running."
So then he went back upstairs to his room, thinking no more of it. Then there was a peck on the window. He was really starting to get scared and curious. He went to the window, opened it, and yelled,
"Get out of here, you little kids!"
But still, there was no one. Since it was starting to get really freaky, he decided to go and watch some TV. He flipped on the TV, and right then the power went out. He knew that the kids couldn't have done something like this, because he didn't have a fuse box. He now realized that the kids couldn't have done any of the other things now, and he was starting to get really scared. He went and got a flashlight, and he saw red eyes across the room and was coming very fast towards him. He all of a sudden heard a low, creepy, but familiar voice calling,
"Charlie, Charlie, Charlie, how could you have done something like this to me?"
Charlie replied with,
"Who are you? What do you want from me? I have no clue what you're talking about."
The voice replied,
"You do know what I'm talking about, Charlie."
All of a sudden, it jumped out behind the shadows, and Charlie saw a beaten, flesh-removed kid that Charlie recognized as the kid he had wished that something bad would happen to. His eyes were blood red, and the flesh that he had left was purple and blue. Charlie was scared to death. He told the kid that he had never meant for him to be killed or even hurt, but he didn't believe him. The kid replied,
"Now it is your turn to follow the pain and death that I had suffered through."
Then the kid took Charlie out of the house and tied him up to a tree. The kid then dug a hole and then untied Charlie. The ghost said to him,
"I'm sorry that it has to end this way, but this is what you have to repay me by doing. Goodbye, Charlie."
Then the kid threw Charlie in the hole and buried him alive. No one really knew what happened to Charlie Wackaweed until one day a clipping all of a sudden appeared in the newspaper telling what had happened and who had actually killed the kid, that Charlie didn't like him.
"I'm telling you now, be careful what you wish for, because it might just someday come true."
Alright, so that was a pretty creepy story, and I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I'm just going to call it Charlie because it has no name. And if you guys have any suggestions to any scary stories you would like to hear from me, then just leave a comment in the comments below or send me a personal message on YouTube. I will be sure to respond to you because I respond to everything. So yeah, if you guys like this, then you guys can leave a thumbs up or even a favorite. I don't even care. Whatever floats your boat. And thanks for watching this, guys. Peace.